Hey everybody, Justin with Key Customs here again, and tonight this is going to be part 4 of the videos that I've shot so far on two-tone paint jobs on these little DCP trucks. In the previous videos I've shot how to strip them down, prep them, tape them off, paint methods, techniques, so on and so forth, and tonight I've got this thing down and it's ready for clear coat. Now that being said, Melissa, if you can zoom in on this. I shot this thing in the last video. I had it taped off and had the colors on it, and was talking about taping and bleed off or bleed through on your paint. Well, I taped this thing off and shot it, and it came out better than I'd ever hoped for. I had virtually no bleed through at all. The sleeper turned out great. The hood turned out great. Here on the cowling on the cab, I had just a little teeny bit of bleed through here and here. It was really nothing to even speak of. I just touched it up and got my other parts ready. Like up here I've got the drive line, and next I went ahead and did the tanks and steps and the breathers. I'm going to do in the same blue just for the fun of it. You know, it's my truck, so I'm going to have fun with it. Anyway, also, I went back over this thing and I did a little bit of detailing on it. Like if you can see like the door latches, the door handles here on the tractor and on the sleeper, the little Unibuilt, Peterbilt emblem. Same thing on the hood here. I touched those up with a silver Sharpie. It's just a personal preference to kind of maybe give it that little airbrushed, or not airbrushed, but brushed aluminum type, emblem looking type deal. Anyway, when I did those, I just used a silver Sharpie for that. This thing works out really good for doing little silver touch-ups you got to do. You can get Sharpies in various colors to do about whatever you want, and if you don't want to use Sharpies, you can always use the little Testors paint bottles or the Model Master, bottles or whatever. But anyway, so that's kind of what I did on this truck tonight, just to kind of make it my own, so to speak. Now that being said, one other thing I want to say right now is making these videos and putting them on YouTube. Most of this stuff, or these videos here that I'm doing, are directed at the Toy Truck Mafia guys. So when I say, like in the previous videos, I talk about a certain truck and I say, you guys have all seen it. Well, that's directed at the Toy Truck Mafia guys because they're familiar with my work and they have mostly all seen it. But for those of you that are not familiar with that, the Toy Truck Mafia is a group on Facebook. It's a really awesome bunch of guys. We're almost 3,000 members strong right now. Just Google it, check them out. Like I said, check out Key Customs. You can Google it too. That's my personal customs page. But no, the Toy Truck Mafia guys are a really good bunch of guys to deal with. We're mostly 1/64 scale truck builders, collectors, enthusiasts, so on and so forth, whatever you want to call us. But anyway, so that being said, yeah, it's that's where that comes from. Anyway, so tonight, like I said, without further ado, we're gonna do video 4 here and lay the primer on this, or I'm sorry, my mind's kind of gone right now. The clear coat on this truck. And before I did it, like I said, I went around and did my little details here on the cabin sleeper parts. And just while I was waiting to do this video, my wife was getting the SD cards and stuff ready. I decided to touch up the interior on this truck, which is what comes out of the cab on this DCP Pete 379. It's just the seats and the dashboard and the steering wheel and shifter. And did them in the same blue and silver.
Hold it up a little bit.
With a paintbrush. So my wife's saying hold it up a little bit, so here we go. Anyway, if you guys can see that, like I said, I just took the same cans of paint that I shot this in and spray a little bit out on aluminum foil and take a real fine paintbrush and just kind of painted those up. It's just a nice little touch to a custom truck that you want to do or whatever. It's just something I decided I'd give a shot, so whatever. Anyway, that's the cool thing about doing these little trucks is the sky's the limit on customizing them. You can do anything you want to with them. You know, anyway. So to get down to brass tacks here, we're going to clear this thing, and when it comes to clear coating, I usually say do 2 to 3 light coats of primer, 2 to 3 light coats of your primary color, which is always your lighter color, and then 2 or 3 coats of your secondary color, which is your darker color. Excuse me. On this one, on clear coat, me personally, I will go a little bit thicker and probably do 2 coats as opposed to doing 2 or 3 thin coats on my paint or whatnot, because you want to when you do paint, if it kind of comes out kind of a dull finish, like a blotchy or whatever, it's not that big a deal. But when you do your clear, you want to make sure it comes out really good and shiny, like a real uniform coat. To whereas, like I said, you do 2 or 3 coats in your base color, and just to fill everything in to get your color on, it's not that big a deal. But when you go to do your clear coat, you want to make sure it comes out real smooth and shiny. So I try to kind of lay that stuff on just a little bit thicker than I do my paint. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shake this up a little bit more, get the cap off, and get spraying on it. So. Make sure it's ready to spray. This stuff looks good. Same way, like I said in previous videos, 10 to 12 inches away. Give it a couple little test shots to see, kind of judge your distance and see how it's going to lay down. So anyway, and then just go at it. The nice thing about this clear coat, I mean, the paint job looks good already, but most of all the Model Master stuff and like the R&E paint supply stuff that I use, it's a, what the guys in the automotive painting business call a two-stage base clear paint job, where you do your base coat, which pretty much dries a real dull color, and then you do your clear coat, which makes your dull turn out shiny. So anyway, and then this stuff, I was thinking earlier when I was going to make this video, if you lay it on a little bit too thick, and it won't really run per se, but it may start to gather up on the bottom of whatever you're painting. It may have kind of a whitish look to it. It's really nothing to worry about, because the stuff will dry clear pretty much no matter how thick you spray it, unless you just go, stupid thick with it, which I haven't done, so I couldn't tell you on that. But yeah, anyway, if it's got a little whitish or milkiness look to it, once it dries out, it'll look really good, y'all. So anyway, and this stuff's looking really good. So, and I normally on the clear coat, not like my paint where you let it dry to the touch. This stuff, I'll shoot it and give it a minute or 2 or 3 to stick down, and then I go right back over it with a second coat and maybe a third coat. Like I said, try not to get it stupidly thick, but your clear coat is where your what makes your colors really pop, so you don't want to have that kind of, what I was going to say before on your base coats, it kind of gets that matte finish, and it kind of looks rough, and that's what you're trying to fix with your clear coat, or not necessarily fix, but that's what the clear coat is for, to make everything shine, of course. But anyway, so yeah, I think we will go ahead and shoot another coat on it. Shine her up real good. And you can lay this stuff on pretty thick. It's a pretty forgiving product. So I'm gonna get with the guys at R&E Paint in Mountain Home that I've talked about before in previous videos, and they've suggested some other stuff I can try. But a lot of it is stuff that you got to use within 24 hours or so. They had one product they talked about was just supposed to be a really killer clear coat. It's a two-stage type deal with the actual product and the catalyst. And it's got a deal in the bottom of the can where you penetrate a cylinder in the bottom and then shake it up to activate everything. And you're supposed to use it within, like I said, 24 to 36 hours after activating it. And Gary at R&E says at the most he has done it, used it for something and then stuck it in the refrigerator, and chilling it off will kind of prolong its going bad. But he says up to 30 days it'll keep, but it's better off not to do that. So for the time being, like I said, I'm going to experiment with stuff in the future and make videos and kind of help you guys out some more on that. But for right now, like I said, stuff I've talked about, the Model Master stuff, the testers, the basic base coat paints that R&E mixes up for me, they're doing what I need them to do. So anyway, but as I said before, I really hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I hope they're helping you all out, and if you guys ever have any questions or comments or anything, of course comment on these videos on YouTube. All you Toy Truck Mafia guys, feel free to comment. PM me, hit me up however you want to, that's fine. I'll answer any questions I can for you and try to help you all out. Of course there's guys that have been doing this a lot longer than I have that are more knowledgeable, but I'm just here trying to help the hobby out. So anyway, that being said, I think I'm going to lay one more coat on this, get my parts off the table in there and clear those two, and probably put this little truck back together in about a week, and we'll go from there. So once again, thanks for me, and thanks for watching.